Welcome to Spaceverse, your portal to cosmic adventures. NASA recently updated on Artemis 2 and discussed the return of the Boeing Starliner, and Falcon 9 is returned to flight. The Boeing Starliner, on its first crewed flight, has been in orbit for over a month without a planned return date. NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams were sent to the ISS on June 5th as part of the Crew Flight Test (CFT), originally planned for 1 week. However, engineers postponed Starliner's return to investigate helium leaks and thruster issues. Steve Stitch, NASA's Commercial Crew Program Manager, emphasized the importance of thorough data review to ensure a safe return. Starliner continues to have the full support of NASA, Boeing, and the CFT astronauts, notwithstanding these setbacks. Wilmore spoke highly of the capsule's capabilities while in orbit and its performance during operational inspections at a separate press conference. He went about the problems they had with the Reaction Control System (RCS) thrusters as they were getting close to the International Space Station (ISS) and how they handled them. Wilmore detailed how the spacecraft's control capabilities were diminished due to the loss of 2 RCS jets in quick succession. Thanks to their manual control training and certification, they were able to compensate for the thruster difficulties for more than an hour. Wilmore and Williams became part of the Expedition 71 crew, which they playfully call Expedition 71 Plus, after arrival at the ISS on June 6. Every day, they take part in station maintenance, conduct scientific research, and catch up on a backlog of work. Boeing engineers on Earth are investigating the causes of the Starliner systems and anomalies that they have been thoroughly checking during their trip. The USS Starliner's long-term performance in space may be better understood before undocking, thanks to the International Space Station's role as an orbiting hangar, which Stitch emphasized. Careful attention is being given to the thruster problems and multiple helium leaks. More than half of the 30-plus tasks outlined to address the irregularities have been executed, according to Mark Nappy, Little VP and Commercial Crew Program Manager at Boeing. Stitch elaborated by saying that they hope to resolve the helium leaks soon. With the exception of one of its 28 RCS thrusters, the spacecraft is still considered safe to return to Earth's atmosphere in the event of an emergency, notwithstanding these concerns. The extra data provided by the mission extension is highly advantageous to the engineering teams. Engineers are becoming excited, according to Nappy, since they are collecting more data, which will help them improve future missions. Midway through August, when SpaceX's Crew 8 and Crew 9 missions switch over, is the latest conceivable return date for Starliner, according to Stitch. Wilmore and Williams should ideally return earlier. Optimistic estimates see them leaving as early as the end of July. According to Stitch, the data should be followed to find the earliest and safest undock opportunity. Thanks to an on-orbit thruster test fire performed while docked at the ISS, confidence in the thruster's present performance is still strong. Stitch promised that in order to keep everything under wraps, the team is looking into every possible angle. This crewed flight to the ISS follows 2 previous unmanned Starliner missions. The second flight in May 2022 docked successfully but had thruster problems. The first, in December 2019, failed to reach the ISS due to malfunctions. Nappy noted the flight test provided valuable insights into hardware, processes, and improvements. One thruster with low thrust will remain inactive for the rest of the trip. The extended stay at the ISS is preparing the crew for future 6-month missions, with the first Starliner 1 planned for 2025. Data from CFT tests at NASA's White Sands Test Facility is crucial to prevent similar thruster issues in the future. Stitch mentioned that Starliner's thruster pulses were more frequent than expected, and they are replicating these conditions at White Sands to understand heating effects and prevent unforeseen consequences. Making sure Wilmore and Williams get back to safety is still the top objective as the CFT mission moves forward. Stitch has verified that Starliner is prepared for an emergency return, and the crew is putting the finishing touches on the required procedures, such as a return flight readiness review, to get ready to undock and land. The spacecraft is now better prepared for future long-duration missions because of the important lessons gained during the extended mission. What follows is an analysis of the FAA's latest statement on the Falcon 9 probe, along with details on when the rocket is expected to return and what this means for SpaceX's future missions. On July 11th, a malfunction during the upper stage marked the Falcon 9's first major failure in nearly a decade, placing satellites into an unsustainable orbit. To return the Falcon 9 to flight, The FAA, which regulates and licenses its commercial launch activities, swiftly declared a joint investigation was necessary to determine the cause. The grounding threatens to delay important missions, including NASA's Crew 9 in August and Polaris Dawn on July 31st. The FAA emphasized the need for a comprehensive evaluation of all systems, processes, and procedures related to the incident to ensure public safety before certifying the rocket for flight again. Any changes to SpaceX's license due to fixes would require FAA approval. The FAA indicated SpaceX may continue flights during the inquiry if no public safety concerns are found and all other license conditions are met. This decision allows SpaceX to fly its unmanned commercial flights while engineers investigate the upper stage problem. The FAA considers environmental conditions, flight safety analysis, safety organization performance, safety critical systems, and the anomaly's impact. If all requirements are met, Falcon 9 can resume. SpaceX must ensure public safety, and they are confident in doing so. SpaceX has requested NOTAMs and hazard notifications for up to 4 Starlink missions from July 19th to 22nd. If the FAA approves SpaceX's public safety assessment in time, Falcon 9 could resume flights this weekend. The rocket returned to the port of Long Beach on July 13th after the Starlink 993 mission's malfunction. The FAA will evaluate SpaceX's proposal with a focus on safety. For uncrewed Falcon 9 missions, the process is straightforward. However, for crewed missions like Polaris Dawn and NASA's Crew 9, it's more complex. Jonathan McDowell of the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics advises that SpaceX must investigate, fix the issue, and test with an unmanned flight before approving Polaris Dawn for launch to ensure safety and reliability. SpaceX takes a different tack than NASA's conventional wisdom when it comes to design and improvement. They're always working to improve and refine their technologies. According to this school of thought, one should wonder if the strange occurrence was the consequence of a glitch in production or assembly or a new design. However, in order to avoid such problems on future crewed flights, it is crucial to conduct a comprehensive investigation. To make sure future launches are safe, SpaceX and the FAA are going to investigate thoroughly. Crewed missions will be subject to more oversight than routine launches, according to Laura Forchik, founder and executive director of the Atlanta-based space consultancy company Astrolytical. Before another crew is sent on board, our thorough method guarantees that every element is understood and addressed. Though such accidents are rare, space consultant and blogger John Holst of Florida's 3 Divine Space pointed out that SpaceX has a tradition of being open about their issues. A comprehensive mission assurance procedure will be ensured by the FAA and NASA. In order to avoid a repeat performance on crewed missions, it is necessary to determine what went wrong. SpaceX and NASA continue to have a tight cooperation despite the recent Falcon 9 mishap on a commercial mission. As part of its routine fleet tracking operations, the agency receives updates on the Falcon 9 rocket in all its elements. As part of its continued engagement with SpaceX's anomaly investigation, NASA places a premium on crew safety and mission assurance. With Falcon 9 grounded, SpaceX's launch schedule is in jeopardy, affecting the Polaris Dawn mission on July 31 and NASA's Crew 9 mission in mid-August. These missions are on hold until the investigation is complete, depending on the failure's nature and SpaceX's corrective actions. Former Little VP of Propulsion Tom Mueller is optimistic about the team's ability to resolve the issue and maintain Falcon 9's reliability, which is crucial for their ambitious launch plans. The recent incident with SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket has brought attention to the need for thorough safety measures and investigations to guarantee the dependability of space missions. The comprehensive examination highlights the significance of resolving any possible concerns before returning to crewed operations, even while the FAA's encouraging declaration provides optimism for a quick return to flight. Here are the latest Artemis II updates from NASA. As the first crewed trip beyond low Earth orbit since Apollo 17 in 1972, Artemis II is set to be a historic mission. As a subset of the larger Artemis program, this mission's overarching goal is to return 4 men from a lunar flyby to Earth in one piece. Artemis II will make use of the second Space Launch System (SLS) launch and the first crewed mission of the Orion spacecraft, both of which are scheduled for no sooner than September 2025. A critical part of the mission, the SL's core stage, has just been removed from its assembly at NASA's Michoud Assembly Facility in New Orleans. Significant progress has been made with the achievement of this milestone on July 16th, precisely 55 years after the Apollo 11 launch. It has been delayed for years and has cost taxpayers billions of dollars, but finally it has here. At 65 meters in height and powered by 4 RS-25 engines, the SLS core stage is an engineering wonder. It has, however, encountered several obstacles on its way from conception to completion. The core stage was escorted 1 mile before being loaded onto the NASA Pegasus barge, and then it set sail toward the Florida Kennedy Space Center. There, it will be ready for Artemis II by undergoing additional outfitting and assembly. Engineers will assemble the core stage, solid rocket boosters, and other necessary parts at Kennedy. Already in Florida is the interim cryogenic propulsion stage, and in the fall will arrive the adapters that will link the SLS to the Orion spacecraft. Despite these improvements, the SLS manufacturing schedule continues to be a cause for worry and aggravation. Due to its sluggish development, Boeing, the main contractor for the SLS core stage, has been under intense criticism. Boeing has only just completed the Artemis II core stage after being originally assigned the goal of completing Artemis III by 2024. A multi-billion-dollar cost-plus contract, which reimburses the contractor for all permissible expenses plus an extra charge, commenced production of the SLS core stage in 2014. Although this contract structure was intended to address unexpected technological issues, it has unintentionally slowed down the process. There are allegations that Boeing may be financially incentivized to cause delays in the project since the longer it takes, the more money they collect. Delays of considerable magnitude have been caused by a plethora of problems that Boeing has encountered since 2014, such as tainted fuel tubes, incorrectly placed equipment, welding concerns, and natural calamities. Staggering monetary consequences result from the SLS program. Of the $11.9 billion spent on the SLS as of August 2018, 40% was attributed to Boeing's core stage contract. The cost of the Artemis program was projected by NASA's Office of Inspector General to reach $93 billion by 2021, with each SLS launch costing around $4.1 billion. The program is scheduled to run from 2012 to 2025. Boeing and NASA have maintained their relationship despite the astronomical expenditures and several setbacks. Negotiations to acquire up to 10 more SLS core stages were even launched by the agency in 2019. The decision shows that Congress has been consistently behind the SLS program, which is important for a number of reasons, including the symbolic value of a national space exploration endeavor and the need to keep jobs in various areas. By urging NASA to locate other buyers for the rocket and requiring a flight rate of twice annually, Congress has repeatedly demonstrated its dedication to the SLS. In spite of setbacks, the SLS program will continue thanks to the backing of lawmakers. Nonetheless, the core problem persists: the SLS cannot be reused. In sharp contrast to the affordable, reusable rockets created by businesses like SpaceX, each launch essentially demolishes a rocket worth several billion dollars. The chief executive officer of SpaceX, Elon Musk, has been an outspoken opponent of the SLS, citing its impracticality as a significant flaw. The SLS has major drawbacks in a sector where efficiency and affordability are key, such as its expensive price and one-time use design. The economic and symbolic significance of the program, however, ensures that Congress continues to back it. For the SLS to be financially feasible, NASA needs to find other missions outside its own to use it. Due to budgetary constraints, SpaceX's Falcon Heavy was substituted for the SLS for the Europa Clipper mission. By opting for commercial alternatives, taxpayers were able to save more than $1.5 billion. Another obstacle that the SLS must overcome is compatibility. Use of the SLS for multiple missions is complicated since the launch environment for different payloads, including the Europa Clipper and Orion spacecraft, varies greatly. If NASA wants to bring in more business, it needs to lower prices and remove these technological obstacles. Reducing costs and demonstrating NASA's unique capabilities are crucial to the SLS's future. The SLS's marketability might increase if NASA is able to find ways to save money and time on deep space missions. Even if SpaceX's rockets are reusable and cost a fraction of what the competition offers, breaking through the price barrier is still a huge obstacle in the current market. Finding a market that can absorb the SLS's hefty price tag is a top priority. Congress and NASA are both tasked with navigating the complex political and economic environment around space exploration financing. NASA's Space Launch System (SLS) has faced technical hurdles, budget scrutiny, and steadfast congressional support. As Artemis II approaches, the SLS is at a crossroads, with its future impacting human space exploration. Despite being a significant investment and national pride, the SLS faces criticism for high costs and slow progress. Affordable, reusable commercial rockets are prompting NASA to rethink its strategy. The SLS's response to market changes will determine its fate. Currently, it stands as a symbol of ambition and the challenges of space exploration. A heartfelt thank you for being here with us today as we come to the end of our journey at Spaceverse. Your support is what drives our investigation of the cosmos. Remember to hit the notification bell and subscribe to our channel so that you can continue to explore with us. See you until the next time we cross paths in the cosmos.